children, welcome to Storytime. Today's book, the Piggy book by Anthony Brown, is certainly going to make you think about the way that you treat the people living in your house. Here we go. Mr. Piggot lived with his two sons, Simon and Patrick, in a nice house with a nice garden and a nice car in the nice garage. Inside the house was his wife.
"Hurry up with the breakfast, dear,"
he called every morning before he went off to his very important job.
"Hurry up with the breakfast, Mum!"
Simon and Patrick called before they went off to their very important school. After they left the house, Mrs. Piggot washed all the breakfast things, made all the beds, vacuumed all the carpets, and then she went to work.
"Hurry up with the meal, Mum!"
The boys called every evening when they came home from their very important school.
"Hurry up with the meal, old girl!"
Mr. Piggot called every evening when he came home from his very important job. As soon as they had eaten, Mrs. Piggot washed the dishes, washed the clothes, did the ironing, and then she cooked some more. Just look at this picture, children. I want you to pay very special attention to the painting on the wall as well as the wallpaper. One evening, when the boys got home from school, there was no one there to greet them.
"Where's Mum?"
demanded Mr. Piggot when he came home from work. She was nowhere to be found. On the mantelpiece was an envelope. Mr. Piggot opened it. Inside was a piece of paper. Can you read this, grade twos? Look what it says. You are pigs.
"But what shall we do?"
said Mr. Piggot. They had to make their own meal. It took hours and it was horrible. Next morning, they had to make their own breakfast. It took hours and it was horrible. Can you see any changes in the pictures, children? Pay close attention to everything. The next day and the next night and the day after that, Mrs. Piggot was still not there. Mr. Piggot, Simon and Patrick tried to look after themselves. They never washed the dishes. They never washed their clothes. Soon the house was like a pigsty.
"When is Mum coming home?"
the boys squealed after another horrible meal.
"How should I know?"
Mr. Piggot grunted. They all became more and more grumpy. I wonder if you look closely at that window. Something is prowling outside. One night, there was nothing in the house for them to cook.
"We'll just have to root around and find some scraps,"
snorted Mr. Piggot. Just then, Mrs. Piggot walked in. "Please come back," they snuffled. So Mrs. Piggot stayed. Mr. Piggot washed the dishes. Patrick and Simon made their beds. Mr. Piggot did the ironing. And they all helped with the cooking. They actually enjoyed it. Mum was happy too. she mended the car. Wow, what a story. I want to ask you, grade 2s, do you treat your mum like that at home? Do you all laze about watching television? I find it very interesting that the family turned into pigs, because that is how they were behaving. And please tell me, when you looked at that picture of the creature outside the window, what other story did it make you think of? All of you grade 2s, go home and give the moms and ladies in your life a special, special thank you and offer to do some of the chores. Wonderful story, wonderful to be with you all. Enjoy your afternoon. See you soon and goodbye.